What's up, everybody? It is Mr. M. I'm back today with a new video. In the background, listening to The Splendid Inequity by Angerot. Got this in the Metalhead box last week. Highly recommend it if you like early death metal. So this video is going to be a collection update, and I've talked about in a couple videos in the past that I was going to do a collection update that was going to be strictly tapes, and so that's what this video is going to be. But over the course of the last couple of months, not including the last collection update I did, where I did talk about like 3 tapes or something, I got 23 tapes in the last couple of months, so I think I'm going to split this into 2 videos, because I know some of these releases I'm going to be talking about quite a bit, and I don't want these videos to go on for super long. So with that, let's get right into it. Start off with the Denver-based record label Engraven Earth Records. Got 2 tapes from them, Haunted Self-Titled and Stolen Absolution by Oryx. Both of these are Doom bands, and I'm not the biggest Doom fan, so I can't really give a lot of comparisons. Black Pro Tape for Haunted Self-Titled. Haunted is a female-fronted Doom band from Italy who have been getting a lot of hype recently, and probably justifiably so. Even though I'm not the biggest Doom fan, I do like this quite a bit. The only band I could really find comparisons to in the limited amount of Doom bands I do listen to is Crypt Sermon, which I don't think is a terrible comparison, given that the last record, and I think the only record that they put out, has been fucking amazing. And then with Oryx, I could find a few more comparisons for this band, but still not much. Blue Pro Tape. They're a sludgier doom metal band. They're from Denver, and they're similar to Primitive Man. And I'm pretty sure the vocalist for that band, I can't remember his name, Ethan, I think is his first name. I think he had something to do with this release. I think it was the artwork or production or both or something else, I don't know. But sludgy stuff, kind of along the lines of Primitive Man, but there's also a lot of clean stuff, kind of like what Bellwitch does, and Spectral Voice if you took out the echo on Spectral Voice's stuff. And another Denver-based record label, which is owned by Rachel, who also owns Graven Earth. She opened, at the beginning of the year, she started Rapid Fire Records. And it was kind of to showcase 2 different styles of music, because with Graven Earth Records you have doom bands like Oryx and Haunted, and then you have hardcore crossover bands like Night Fear, and then she also puts out death metal, black metal, more crossover stuff, all on Graven Earth Records. So that's more of the extreme side that Graven Earth puts out. And Rapid Fire Records she started because she wants to release thrash metal and 80s heavy metal type stuff. And that's what we got with these 2 releases that I got from Rapid Fire. This first one is Hazard with Misleading Evil. These guys are from Calgary. Put out on this neon green Pro Tape. Hand numbered out of 100. I know some of you probably don't give a shit, but I got influences from Death Angel, Nuclear Assault, even a newer bands like Municipal Waste. Even though Municipal Waste is more of a straight speed metal band as opposed to a thrash metal band, but speed metal has thrash metal influences on it. I originally got the CD of this through the Metalhead box, and then Rachel picked them up for a cassette release. And yeah, like I said, if you like Death Angel, Municipal Waste, some of the older stuff, I know like their last couple records, especially the one that came out last year, wasn't too well received. But if you like that stuff, I definitely recommend checking out Hazard. And then the other one I got, Hellfire with Free Again. This is their second studio album, put out on Red Pro Tape. These guys are from the Bay Area, and they definitely have some Bay Area thrash influences from like Metallica, Exodus. The Metallica comparisons, though, I wouldn't say anything the black metal, the Black Album or after. I would not say anything past anything of that. Even And Justice for All would be kind of an iffy comparison. But along with that, they also have a bunch of new wave British heavy metal influences, sort of like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and it blends seamlessly together. And vocally, pick out any singer with a higher voice from the 80s hair metal bands, and that's what the vocalist sounds like. Not terrible, not amazing, but it's still a good record overall, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like the flow of thrash into heavy metal. And then next is a band similar in name, vastly different in terms of music. It's Hellfire Death Cult with Death Worship. Yep, put out on Our Ancient Future. I got to see these guys when they opened for Pseudo God a couple weeks ago. And a lot of people are saying that this is a black death band, but I feel like it's more of a straight up black metal band, in my opinion. And it's a full-length record, but it's short enough that the entire record repeats on both sides. But to me, like I said, this feels more like a standard black metal record to me, as opposed to being a black and death record. Next up, we have a record by a band that I didn't really know about until people started putting out their year-end lists last year. This is Acid Felix with Decreation. Black Pro tape. The tape was done by Sentient Ruin. The CD and vinyl was done by 20 Bucks Spin. It came with this nice slipcase. To my understanding, that artwork is inside the album cover. Well, it's inside something inside the LP. And then on the back you got the Sentient Ruin logo. Straight up Cannibal Corpse and Autopsy Worship. That's what I'm getting from this. Some crust influence, which I've listened to some of their older stuff, and this is not nearly as crusty as that. Shit, I put it on wrong. But yeah, Autopsy Worship, Cannibal Corpse Worship. I wouldn't say anything past Vilo, and even that's a stretch. I feel like this is more of Chris Barnes era Worship compared to anything after it that Cannibal Corpse would have put out. And next is Pestilent Death with Upheaval of the Undead. I believe this band is from South America somewhere. I could be wrong on that. And one thing, I'm not sure if this is true or not. It says on Discogs, and there's a lot of false information on there. But that label right there, it's written in blood. And then this card that comes in it, which shows the limitation of it. There's 25 on a black tape and 25 on a white tape. They say that writing there is with ash and pig's blood. Like I said, that's on Discogs. It might be true, but you can't always believe Discogs. It's 4 songs. I'll call it an EP. The first song is an instrumental, kind of doomy. And then after that, it goes into straight Cannibal Corpse Worship. But I'd say more Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated Worship more than anything. And then I was also getting some influences from Pestilence and Autopsy. And these guys actually cover Twisted Mass of Burnt Decay by Autopsy on here. And especially vocally, excuse me, they turned up the brutality on that song a lot. I believe they might have even down-tuned the guitars for that cover, but I'm not sure, and I'm terrible at telling just based off of listening. But yeah, they made that so much more heavier than the original was. But fucking yeah, early Cannibal Corpse, early Pestilence, and even some brutal death metal. Like I got some Dying Fetus vibes off of this. And I believe this is their only release, and it came out in 2016. So it's even comparable to brutal death metal bands like Volodnia or Ingested or Analepsy, stuff along that. And then a band that everyone's been talking about, Tomb Mold. This is Cryptic Transmissions. I got this through 20 bucks spin. I don't know how many there were, but they made a post on Instagram, and apparently these sold out 10 minutes later, and I was lucky enough to be on Instagram when they posted it. Very simple J card. It's just one-sided, other side is completely blank. There's only 2 songs on here. It's almost 14 minutes though, so they're lengthier songs. And Primordial Malignity, the record that came out last year, I believe that came out before this was put out, because this was recorded in August of 2017. They brought it, Primordial Malignity was already a brutally heavy record, and they brought it even more so with this, which was just a stepping stone for what they were going to bring with their new record, which I forget what it's called, but it's coming out in a couple weeks, and I'm gonna be able to see them. They are touring with A Feather and Bone, and unless shit fucks up, I'm going to be able to see that show. So that's gonna be pretty sweet. And my cat's behind the camera, so hopefully she doesn't mess it up too bad. Next is Chemical Annihilation with Why Die and Demo 1. This is put out on Headsplit Records, Yellow Pro Tape, and as far as I can tell, this is their entire discography. The Why Die demo and then Demo 1. This was a very short-lived band. I think they were around from 89 to 91 in which they recorded this. I believe these guys are out of the Pacific Northwest. And they got a bunch of thrash influences. Vocally, I could hear some Creator stuff, and then I could even hear some of the other bands on some other thrash metal bands that were outside of the Big Four, like Overkill, Early Testament. I say early, like this was put out in, and like I said, this band was around from 89 to 91, so pretty much early of any thrash metal band. You know, they kept it sort of fresh. They were, I could tell from some songs they were ripping off some of these other thrash metal bands, and I think that's what might have led to their demise. But also like the oversaturation of thrash metal bands that were coming out or had already been out for many years. And then the turn of the 80s into the 90s, people were going more towards grunge music and shit like that. So that could have also contributed to a reason why they ended up breaking up. And then these last 4 are all single tapes. My dad's wife was getting rid of a bunch of movies and shit, and she had a bunch of tapes in there, so I looked through them and I found a few things. I'm not going to go into super into detail about these because most of these are bigger artists. So this first one, it's Poison by Alice Cooper, backed with Trash, off of the album Trash. And every single one of them is on this grayish type cassette, so I'm not going to show any more of them, just that one. And then next is Bad English with When I See You Smile. This is off their self-titled debut that I showed off in my last collection video. Next is Joan Jett and the Blackhearts with Little Liar, backed with What Can I Do For You, taken off of Up Your Alley. And then the last one, this one was one that I was really surprised to see. Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, backed with a live version of It's So Easy, recorded in England in 87. And yeah, that was some pretty nice finds. I mean, I probably am not going to listen to them. I'm just going to keep them for collector's scum. Maybe I'll trade them to someone, or maybe I'll just give them to someone. I don't know, but they're cool things to have in my collection at some point, and it was pretty nice to find them, and the fact that I didn't have to pay for them just because she was getting rid of a bunch of stuff, that was pretty nice too. So yeah, that's the end for this video, part 1, and it's already at 15 minutes almost, so yeah, definitely going to be 2 parts. I got 10 more tapes, unless I get some more in before then, which I probably won't. So, yeah, if you like any of the music, links will be down below. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking as always, and I will see you in my next video.